Lakota Dictionary, The Legacy of Our Elders. This is one of a series of educational videos on the Lakota language produced by the Lakota Language Consortium. In this video, you will learn about the development of the new Lakota Dictionary and about the history of the Lakota Lexicography.
The new Lakota Dictionary has been an empowering tool for Lakota language learners and teachers. Since its first edition in 2008, the dictionary continues to grow, and currently it contains over 30,000 entries, all of them collected from fluent Lakota speakers, like Johnson Holyrock, an elder from Pine Ridge who shared many narratives for the dictionary research. Ben Blackbear Jr., an elder from Rosebud, who contributed a lot of his knowledge to the dictionary research.
Deloria Taken Alive, an elder from Standing Rock who provided much time and many stories for the dictionary research. Dave Bald Eagle, an elder from Cheyenne River who shared stories in Lakota for the dictionary research. These are just a few of over 400 fluent Lakota speakers who provided narratives or consulting for the research that went into the new Lakota Dictionary. The transcribed versions of their stories were converted into a dictionary database. This database continues to grow as more recordings are being transcribed. The latest version of the new Lakota Dictionary contains over 30,000 entries, and more than half of them are previously undocumented words. That is, words that cannot be found in any of the older dictionaries.
All of the fluent speakers who contributed to the dictionary are mentioned in the acknowledgement section. Some contributed long narratives, some provided shorter ones. Some were consulted on many words, others on hundreds or thousands of words, but all are acknowledged equally.
The listing in the acknowledgement does not imply an endorsement. It is simply an expression of gratitude to the elders who provided words. The NLD is the first Lakota dictionary in which all of the words and example sentences come from native speakers. You may ask, well, isn't it the same for older dictionaries? Some people ask why we need a new dictionary when we already have a large dictionary by the German missionary Eugene Buchel. To answer this, we need to learn about the history of Lakota dictionaries.
The very first dictionary was created by the brothers Samuel and Gideon Pons, missionaries living among the Dakota people in Minnesota during the 1830s. At first, they collected words from the Dakota translation of the Bible, and later extended the dictionary by additional entries.
The dictionary was edited and published by their successor, Stephen Riggs, in 1852. So now we refer to it as the Riggs Dictionary.
The main goal of the Pond brothers and Stephen Riggs was evangelism rather than linguistic research. But their work also represents an important documentation of the Dakota language. The Riggs Dakota Dictionary is not without its problems, but no one has undertaken the research to evaluate it in depth. In 1902, Eugene Buchel came from Germany to serve as a missionary in Pine Ridge and Rosebud, and he stayed in Lakota country till his death in 1954. Among his possessions that are now at the Marquette Jesuit Archives is a copy of the Dakota Bible and the Riggs Dakota Dictionary, with many handwritten notes by Buchel on the margins. Buchel wanted to convert Riggs Dakota Dictionary into Lakota because he thought the two dialects were very similar. It is true that many words are shared between the Dakota and Lakota dialects. For instance, shunka and wia are the same. Other words have sound variations, such as the following: hadi, gli, ehnaka, egnaka, boksa, woksa, chaba, chwa.
Buchel became gradually aware of most of these variations and started converting Dakota words for his Lakota dictionary. However, in the process, he borrowed many errors that had existed in the Riggs Dictionary, as well as words that are not used in the Lakota dialect. Additionally, he was not always aware that some words are different between the two dialects. For example, the word for dress is chuiginaka in Lakota, but sangsanicha in Sati Sisseton Dakota.
In the end, Buchel borrowed about 18,000 words from the 20,000 entries of the Riggs Dictionary. As you will see later, many of the borrowed entries had various types of problems.
Ella Deloria was a native Lakota speaker who became educated in linguistics through her work with the famous linguist and anthropologist Franz Boas in 1920s and 1930s. This was at a time when there was no Lakota dictionary in existence, and Boas encouraged Deloria to create one. Deloria started by working with the Riggs Lakota Dictionary and eventually wrote the Lakota variants for most of the 20,000 entries. This is a sample page from the Riggs Dictionary with the Lakota variants provided in Deloria's handwriting on the margins.
Deloria and Buchel were trying to accomplish the same thing, to create a Lakota dictionary using the Riggs Dakota Dictionary as a starting point. They were doing this during the same time period, but were unaware of each other and approached the task in very different ways. Buchel relied on Riggs heavily. He borrowed the majority of his entries, converted the words that he assumed had sound variations, and copied the English classes word for word. Deloria, on the other hand, wrote Lakota variants based on her intuition as a native Lakota speaker. During the 1990s, all of the words from Riggs, Buchel, and Deloria were digitized and inserted into a single database. This made it possible to compare words from Buchel's dictionary with those written by Deloria. Here are some examples.
Riggs wrote Wotekteheda. Deloria wrote Lochi next to Riggs' entry for Wotekteheda. Buchel converted Wotekteheda into what he assumed would be the Lakota form and wrote Wotektegla. However, this word is not recognized by Lakota speakers and does not show up in any old texts. Buchel not only created words based on assumptions about dialect variants, but also borrowed incorrect entries or inaccurate definitions from Riggs. For example, Riggs wrote Yasni, to blow or cool by blowing. Buchel wrote Yasni, to blow, cool by blowing. According to Lakota speakers who were consulted, Yasni means to cool someone down by speaking, whereas the word for cooling down by blowing is Wosni.
Another example of an error borrowed from Riggs by most other Lakota dictionaries is the word oglu. It appears in the following Lakota dictionaries, all of which claim that oglu means luck.
The word oglu is just one of many thousands of incorrect entries that were borrowed from one dictionary into another and continue to be published for 150 years.
But in the 1920s, when Ella Deloria encountered the word oglu in the Riggs Dictionary, she wrote a question mark, as she did for many other entries that she did not recognize.
During the work on the New Lakota Dictionary, several dozens of fluent speakers were consulted on the word oglu, and not one of them recognized it as a Lakota word. The word oglu is a result of an assumption that the early lexicographers made. They misunderstood the word oglushicha, which means to make a mistake, and glossed it as to have bad luck. Then they assumed that if oglushicha means bad luck, there must also be ogluwashte, meaning good luck. And as the next step, they acclaimed that oglu means luck, whereas oglushicha, to make a mistake, is a Lakota word. Neither oglu nor ogluwashte are Lakota expressions, which is why Deloria wrote a question mark next to the oglu entry. There are about 5,000 entries in the Buchel Dictionary for which Ella Deloria suggested different words or that are otherwise problematic. This means that about 35% of the words that Buchel borrowed from Riggs were not recognized by a fluent native speaker born in 1889. There are also many entries that are erroneous in terms of the definition, conjugation, or other aspects. In most entries that Buchel borrowed from Riggs, the definition and examples are identical, Very rarely are there any additions. This means that Bushel most likely never checked these entries with native speakers. There is no indication that he checked the entry Wotek Degla and thousands of other entries. It is very likely that Bushel was hoping to check every entry with native speakers, but didn't manage to do so before his death in 1954. Father Paul Manhart, who was in charge of preparing the dictionary manuscript for publication, states in the introduction that he involved native speakers in checking only those 900 entries which were lacking translations. Unfortunately, Manhart also introduced many new errors during the editing process, as we know from comparing Bushel's manuscript with a published version.
Not everything in the Bushel Dictionary is incorrect. About 9,000 entries borrowed from Riggs are without any major problems. Bushel also added words from other sources, such as from Deloria's texts and from his translation of the Bible. By doing so, he extended the lexical collection by about 5,000 words. He also created a very valuable herbarium with almost 400 plant names and included these in the dictionary. It is clear that Bushel's contribution to Lakota lexicography is not black and white. Bushel's dictionary contains many entries that are likely correct, but a large portion of the data is problematic due to the inaccuracies borrowed from Riggs and the incorrect conversions from the Dakota dialect. An additional issue is that Bushel's consistent phonemic orthography was converted by Paul Manhart, the editor of the dictionary, and the conversion was done inconsistently, making the spelling unreliable.
The orthography topic is covered in detail in another video. Due to the problematic sources in editing, it is difficult to decide which parts of Bushel's dictionary are reliable and which are not, unless someone researches every single entry with native speakers. The approach to building the new Lakota Dictionary was very different from that used in the previous dictionaries. Stories, narratives, and dialogues recorded directly from native speakers are the main source of data for the new Lakota Dictionary. In the latest version of the new Lakota Dictionary, there are about 13,000 entries that are also in Bushel's, but with many corrections and with new example sentences. Only those Bushel entries that were vetted by Deloria or by contemporary speakers were included. Additionally, the new Lakota Dictionary includes over 16,000 entries, which are not in Bushel or in any other Lakota dictionary. Where do these words come from? From a narrative recorded by Mary Ann Redcloud in Pine Ridge in 2005.
From a story recorded by Dolores Kilsenwater in Rosebud in 2012.
From a story by Florida Bullbear Jealous, recorded in Pine Ridge in 2007. From a story by Ben Black Bear Jr., recorded in Rosebud in 2005.
From a story by Johnson Holy Rock recorded in Pine Ridge in 2004.
From a story by Dolores Taken Alive recorded in Standing Rock in 2005.
From a story by Dave West, recorded in Cheyenne River in 1998.
The latest version of the new Lakota Dictionary database includes over 100,000 example sentences. All come from native speakers. Most originate from audio recordings of narratives. Many come from stories recorded by Ella Deloria.
In 2012, all of the words in the dictionary were recorded by both male and female voices. Altogether, the dictionary app contains 55,000 audio files. 8 fluent speakers participated in the recording, and it took 4 weeks to record all the words. Additional time was needed for cutting and editing the sound files and inserting them into the database. This recording project provided another opportunity to check the dictionary for accuracy of spelling, meaning, and the usage of the entries. The new Lakota Dictionary is the first Lakota dictionary which has words originating directly from native speakers. It is a collection of words from speakers across Lakota country. The NLD is written in a consistent phonemic orthography which provides a powerful visual cue about pronunciation. All of the example sentences come from authentic narratives. There are currently 30,000 entries and another 15,000 in the works. The NLD is available in book format as well as multimedia apps for PC, Mac, iPhone, and Android. It is the first truly reliable Lakota dictionary.
The new Lakota Dictionary would not exist if it weren't for contributions from Lakota elders. Rudy Firethunder and John Around Him were two elders who encouraged research for a new dictionary in 1992. They were the first fluent speakers who contributed their knowledge to the dictionary. Between them, they checked 9,000 words.
In 2005, Johnson Holyrock, Ben Blackbear, and many other elders gave their support for the publishing of the dictionary.
Robert Tucrow helped to check 4,000 entries. There are far too many contributors to be named here.
The publishing of the NLD was endorsed by Standing Rock Tribal Council and Sitting Bull College. Standing Rock elders value the dictionary so much that in 2014, during President Obama's visit to their tribe, the dictionary was given to the president as an official gift. This means that a copy of the new Lakota Dictionary is now in the White House.
This dictionary is a collection of knowledge and wisdom from hundreds of elders from all communities in Lakota country and across several generations. It represents a reliable record of the Lakota language, including old words used during the times of Red Cloud, Crazy Horse, and Sitting Bull, as well as new words created for the needs of immersion schools. If you find an unfamiliar word in the dictionary, you can trust that it is a word that comes from a native speaker who actively used it.
There are hundreds of testimonies from Lakota language learners who say that the new Lakota Dictionary made all the difference in their learning journey. There are many teachers who use it and vouch for it. The new Lakota Dictionary is the work and legacy of Lakota elders.